Welcome to Ask a Mountain Bike Professional podcast. We have Aaron Danger Mecham. We got local Strava killer queen, Nicole. And I'm Dave.
Okay, so this is one of our first episodes on this podcast. So Aaron and Dave, I just want you guys to give a quick summary about yourselves, just so people get to know you a little bit.
Okay, I'm Aaron Danger Mecham. I am a professional bike mechanic. I don't live upstairs from the shop. Get that out there right now. That's a common question. I've been working on bikes for professionally a little over a decade, probably. What year is it?
I love that you introduce yourself as a bike mechanic to people all the time and then see how they treat you, and then you can gauge what kind of person they are, if they're cool and worth spending time with or not. Yeah. So Aaron really does everything with the bike shop he's involved in. He runs the shop and he is the man there, but he is also probably the best mechanic in at least the Intermountain West. But yeah, I love that he introduces himself as a bike mechanic. I think that's awesome. And I don't know, he doesn't just mechanic bikes. He's a great rider and an avid outdoorsman, and he's a certified mountain bike coach. And he can hang with about anybody except for this lady right here on the uphill or downhill. But sorry, I had to jump in and say how much I love that you introduced yourself that way, because I think it's so awesome that you do that, and then you kind of get a feel for people by how they react to that introduction.
This is true. And sometimes after I introduce myself as a bike mechanic, people ask if that's my only job.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
I've been riding mountain bikes since they existed. I was a paper boy as a kid. And so I was on a bike already, and I got my first giant iguana in the 90s and have been riding since. I love the sport. I love being outdoors and everything about it. And I started Speed Mountain with Aaron completely as part of that plan. And so I've been involved in an ownership role at a bike shop and an outdoor touring company, and now working on coaching and mentoring, as well as kind of this online stuff for a lot of years, and just absolutely love the sport.
Awesome. Okay, well, being as it's one of the first episodes, we need to ask the question, why are we even doing this podcast? What has inspired you guys to want to put this together and to talk to people about biking, mechanics, all of that?
So for me, the reason that we're doing this is because I've always wanted to be a podcaster and an influencer in some way, and thought, well, this way is going to make it happen.
That's great. Aaron just loves the limelight. You'll come to find out as you get to know him better. Really loves being in front of the camera. There's actually a great introduction video to Aaron on MTBTune.Online. I think it's under the About section if you want to, or anyway, go. I don't remember where it is. I don't remember where we put it. Oh, there we go. The why Aaron Danger Mecham is pretty great. So go check out that video to get to know him a little bit better. The real reason behind this podcast is because of MTBTune.Online. Really, that's what started us doing it, and we're trying to give people better mountain biking experiences by helping them to become educated about their bike, about their new e-bike, and be able to do some maintenance to the level that they want to. Because there's this kind of perfect mess of events that we had where, as a bike shop, we couldn't get parts, we couldn't get bikes, and the pandemic was going on, so it was exploding interest in mountain biking. And I mean, how often do you think you had people ask you, hey, can you just teach me how to do this?
Oh, it was easily weekly. I would tell people, we were out 6 weeks, and they're like, well, can you just teach me? And I'm like, well, if I had time to teach you, I'd just fix your bike.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in addition to teaching people how to fix their bikes, we want people to be educated so that they can make their own decisions about what bike to ride, parts to put on their bike to make it appropriate for their specific regions, and just so that people can ride more safely and know how to get off the mountain if something does go awry.
Yeah, we kind of brainstormed and we toyed with the doing a Zoom class, and because everybody was on Zoom, living on Zoom for their job, and we thought, well, we could set this up in the shop and we could do some classes to teach people some of this stuff, and make it worth our time somehow, and charge enough for it that we weren't wasting our time. But in the end, that became too messy, and we're like, let's just create a course. Let's create a course, some anatomy courses, some how-to courses, and get people to where they can do a lot of this stuff, not as well as their mechanic, but they can keep themselves riding for longer and actually have a better mountain bike experience, just understanding what they're working with as well. Aaron, when we were kind of going through this and we talked about the different methods, I remember you not being very excited about doing live classes.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole lot that goes into that, but one thing that I don't like about just teaching somebody initially is if I teach somebody, they're going to know how to do it then, but then by the time they have to do it again next year, they're going to forget how to do it. And so having these classes and courses accessible, they're going to be able to refresh on what to do before they do it again.
Okay, I totally see the need for MTBTune.Online. I think that the need is there, but my question is, you're involved in local bike shops. We have several here where we live. Do you feel that it'll be a negative thing for the local bike shops, taking away business as people learn to do things on their own, or can you see a positive side to that? What do you think on that?
Yeah, so in the current shop I work at, Speed Mountain, we only deal with mountain bikes, and we only deal with premium brands. And so I haven't had to deal with it as much, but in previous shops, one of the biggest time-consuming tasks was things like washing bikes, changing out tubes, changing out grips and tires, and all these small things that to make it worth doing, bike shops have to charge way more than it's worth. But there's so many people that don't know how to do it, that they had to, at the bike shops I worked at, we had to do it because nobody knew how, and it took a lot more time to educate somebody than it did to do it. And so I think that it's going to open it up so that bike mechanics are able to do the stuff that they're more specialized to do, and the stuff that they're going to make more money doing, and make it more worth the bike shop's time and more worth your money to take stuff to a bike shop.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we're obviously super pro local bike shop. Like we are. That was one of the things that kind of tugged at us a little bit, because we would much rather people work with their local bike shop than to deal with, an internet opinion and just order something. And but we also understand the nature of the beast here, that Aaron can't teach everyone how to do it in person. And we really feel like this could be a huge help to bike shops, even if people just, get to know do a bunch of the anatomy courses and understand their bike better, then they can come into the shop and do a better job of explaining what the problem is so that they can get it fixed, get it taken care of properly. And then if they do decide to jump on the tune-up courses and really dig into that a little bit better, they're going to have a safer experience, and they're also going to be able to do some of the things that maybe they would have had to take it to the shop for and wait for 6 weeks that Aaron was talking about, that the shop doesn't have time to do or really want to do, but they can get through a lot of that stuff and get out riding or keep themselves riding, since we can't get parts right now either longer. And the hope is really that this will be helpful to bike shops, and that other bike shops would be excited about selling this to people and being able to make this part of their offering, so that when they do have people come in and say, hey, could you just teach me how to do this? You're like, sure. And you can sell them that and recoup a little bit of the cost and make some money, the same amount of money you probably would have made fixing their little tiny issues, but make them be more loyal to your bike shop because you were willing to share some knowledge with them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I love it. Can we ride our bikes now?
Yeah, we are so dang lucky to live where we live. I mean, we had pictures playing behind Aaron this whole time of places where he's ridden, and a lot of them are local. I'd say, yeah, let's get out and ride. I mean, hopefully every week when we come back with podcasts, we can share something that's useful to everybody. And we'll be sharing some of the places that we've ridden and the experiences that we've had, and like our kids riding and all of that stuff, and some of the things that come along with that, as long as it pertains to what we're trying to do is educate people so that they can make better decisions and have better experiences while mountain biking.
Yeah, that's really what it is. Just helping people to be able to make their own decisions. Because at the shop, people come in all the time and they ask me about something they read about on the internet. And I'm like, well, yeah, if you live in Texas, you can run a 1x10 with a 36 tooth chainring up front. That's going to do well. You don't need 12 gears. But where we live, none of the trails were designed for mountain biking flow. So, and they also end up stopping in wilderness. And so we start out and ride straight up a mountain until we hit wilderness, that imaginary line that we cannot cross while on our bikes. And then we turn around and come back down. And so we need a massive climbing gear, and then we need a tiny gear so that we don't spin out.
Yeah, I can't, I mean, Nicole's right, let's get out and ride, but I can't stress enough how lucky we are to have such awesome raw trails here that are like what you kind of think of when you think of mountain biking, like way out there, nobody around, these monster climbs followed by a monster descent.
Sometimes snow in the middle of June.
Yeah, just how lucky we are to have those really raw, rugged, natural trails. And then, of course, access to all the great stuff in Utah and the surrounding states as well. I think that probably about does it. Nicole, you have anything to add to this besides?
Nope. Just want to ride my bike now.
Okay. Awesome. Hey, thanks. We'll see you next time. And we'll start taking questions here fairly soon that we'll go ahead and answer from people who are interested in asking a mountain bike professional.